Okay, so this is part two to let's talk about it, And so, as I was saying, um, we also have to consider, just like it is when we're in sin, we can't blame other people for us not choosing to get wisdom with an understanding of how Satan is and operates and how a hurting world operates, because hurting people hurt others. So it is when you come into the church. There are human beings when you're in the world sinning. There are human beings when you come into the church. And so just because everyone is hollering, Lord, Lord, if you do not as a person, as an individual, seek the Lord, especially if you don't even believe that God exists, you're already in trouble. But if you don't go to God for yourself and get in a relationship with God, who are we to blame for that? Because God made you and I free will agents. So we have a choice to just go by words of people, or first go by the word of God. So let's talk about it. Yes, in the church, you have a lot going on, a lot of hidden agendas, a lot of wrong motives through religious people who have a form of godliness but denying the power. They're powerless. They're just storefronts. And so, yes, they were wrong for what they did to you. And to all the people they've done it to, they're wrong for the shed innocent blood, spiritually and naturally. They're wrong for setting up sexual encounters in their offices without their wife around or without their husband there, because they already knew better. Especially when they're in leadership, I agree, they do know better. And that's why the judgment on them is going to be even greater, because they knew better and they put God's name on that. And yes, let's talk about it. Yes, you have people who are in leadership where they're supposed to be spiritual parents to their spiritual children, and they're sleeping with their spiritual daughters, sleeping with their spiritual sons, wives and men, and their husbands. A lot of sexual strange perversions, which is not of God at all. And it's not righteousness, it's not holiness. It's perversion. It's antichrist, it's an abomination, it's a sin, it's all evil and wicked. But again, not all of us are like that in the church. And so here's what I want to say. Enough about all the stuff. I can go on and on. It's so much stuff that goes on with quite a bit of people in the church, starting with leadership. But woe unto them. God will deal with them even for what they've done to you. And my heart and my apologies go out to those who have been spiritually traumatized to a point where you don't even know how to trust God again or have faith in God. But God is sending us that's kingdom-minded out to reach to you. And if you're willing to trust in God in us and give God another try, and also trust God in and through us, you'll be surprised this year what God would do for you for taking a risk on Him. Because you have to remember, Jesus Christ, He already knew you and I were still going to be sinning even now, but He still obeyed. He didn't let what religious folks did move Him. He moved them. He floated on through. He was even gangster about things. He said, no man take my life. I lay my life down. In so many words, He was letting them know, I lay my life down when I get ready. And so with that being said, another thing I want to say is you have to consider that regardless of what's going on in the church, not with everybody, whether it be with most people or a little bit of people. The question I say to you, are you going to continue to talk and gossip and backbite about it and slander God's people as well with the religious people, the wheat and the tares? Or are you going to do something about it and join us that's kingdom-minded and be a spiritual aid, assistance, and help? Because again, the word of God said the harvest is plenty, but the laborers are few. One of the reasons that the laborers are few is because too many people talking about what's going on in church, but not choosing to be kingdom-minded themselves and help us out that's laboring in the kingdom, that's actually building the kingdom, that's actually not fornicating and embracing singleness, that's actually having integrity when no one else is around, that's actually walking circumspectly, that's actually living and doing our best to live and be holy without making excuses or justifying it. Too many people are gossiping about what's going on in the church, but are not willing to accept and receive Jesus as their lordship and confess that He died and rose. And so many people are discussing what's going on in the church. But to keep it 100, to keep it gangster, real talk, as they say, a lot of y'all are not willing to obey God yourself and are part of the problem instead of being part of the spiritual solution and joining us, give your lives back to God and being willing to obey God and cooperate with Him and build the kingdom with those who are actually building the kingdom, one mind at a time, one soul at a time, whether it be outreach or in the church walls, outside of the walls, mission, cruises, whatever it is. There's a lot of us that's actually building the kingdom together in unity